Hello, everyone. Scott Zambelli here. Brett will be joining us shortly, and we want to welcome you to Odd Musings. Today is March 30th. Can you believe it? End of March is right around the corner. April 1st is coming up, and so is spring, which is really nice. So I'm going to get the show started. We got some topics today. We'll talk Moon Knight a little bit, but it'll be spoiler free. We're not going to get into any spoilers, so please don't post spoilers in the comments. We want to keep that spoiler free since it just aired today. So episode 1 is out on that. I'll talk a little bit about Jill and I got to go to the Eagles, see them live in concert. That was amazing at the Little Caesars Arena. I'll bring that up a little bit, and we got some other things as well. But in the short run, let's cover our sponsors really quick. So I just want to let me pull up Loringer Family Chiropractic, and actually, what I'll do is I'll cover Teen Titans first, since I usually cover them anyways. So let's get them on, and them being me. Teen Titans Real Estate. Why? Because you matter. That's right. Even though we utilize the latest in tools and technology to maximize your home buying and selling experience, we never take for granted that this is a personal business at the end of the day. It's, and relationships matter. They really do. We're in the digital age where everything's done online. You never meet people. It becomes a very depersonalized topic. But the fact of the matter is, the better we know you and your goals and your situations, the better we can serve you. And that's what it's all about, getting the most money for your investment, which is your home. So give Jill and I a call. Our number is 586-232-5144. And we've been doing a lot lately as far as during the winter. We're returning to seasonality. Things are picking up here in the spring. Winter was a little slower, but still very busy. It's fast and slow is a relative thing. Last year we were like going 1,000 miles per hour. Now we're going 100 miles per hour. That's still fast. It's just not 1,000 miles per hour. So it has slowed down a little bit, but when compared to usual real estate activity, we're still in a very hectic pace, and that's because of our insanely low inventories. So when a good house hits the market, you got to be strong and competitive. For instance, one of the personalized services we do is sometimes people will, once again, you have the automation that's involved where people can set up everything to be automatic searches, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that. But there's limitations to that, because when you get put on some kind of autopilot campaign, what happens is if you're a buyer, and you might know this, as a buyer, houses that are really good are coming and going super fast. If you don't act quickly, you miss out. So here's what happens in a typical scenario. You get put on an autopilot campaign. It does the searches automatically through the MLS and sends them automatically to you first thing in the morning. And what happens there is, most people, their emails are, if you're like me, first thing in the morning, I'm just deleting tons of emails because there's all this auto stuff that gets sent to me from whatever. And I feel like I hit unsubscribe and they still come. I don't know. But it's very easy to be having to pull everything out of your email, and things that are actually important get lost in the shuffle and you miss out on it. Or you could sometimes go days without looking at email just because it's so overwhelming, the amount of junk email we get in our mail. So in a typical process, you get put on the auto campaign, emails get sent to you. The agent doesn't even know it got sent because it was on autopilot. You receive it. You didn't even know you received it, and you might miss out on it. Whereas for us, we have your criteria saved, but we personally run the search 2 to 3 times per day. And the reason for that is the really good properties, they hit, you got to know. So when we do your search every day, it keeps us fresh on what's going on in the market, what's going on for your particular search in particular. But then we pull up those houses that match your criteria and we email them to you. But then we immediately send you a text to let you know we just emailed you a brand new listing. By doing that, we're making sure hey, a hot one just hit the market. Go check your email. So you go in, you look at it, and right away if you want us to set up a showing. So we get you through this process. We can get you to the front of the line. The other thing is listings get entered throughout the day. So if a brand new listing hits, if the search runs at 6 a.m. on the autopilot or 8 a.m., whatever time it runs, it's early. If that agent didn't get to the office till 9 and put it in and it's live at like 9:30, 10 o'clock, you're not going to know about it until the next morning when the next autopilot run gets issued. So you won't even, the earliest you'll know about it is the next morning. But because we do searches multiple times a day for you, we're going to hit whether they do first thing in the morning, middle of the day, or evening. And we get that right out to you and let you know. So that we stay on top of it. And a great example is this weekend, we talked about relationships matter. We had one client who was on vacation, and we had the perfect house, of course, comes up on the market for them after they leave for vacation. That's just the way it is, right? So we called them and we're like, we don't want you to miss out on this house. And there's no way this house would have waited for them to come back on the market. So what we did is set up a virtual tour through the phone. But because we have a long-standing relationship with them and they trust us, we were able to give a tour virtually through the wonders of the internet, with our Zoom calls and all that stuff, FaceTime. We took them through the house, shared with them. And because we had such a strong relationship with them, we knew what they were looking for. So they trusted our opinion on this. So we were able to get them get an offer written up, do e-signatures to get the offer in. We negotiate on their behalf and got them what they wanted. So that was a very important part of the deal, was our trust, our relationship with them. When they got into town, they were able to see the house firsthand for the home inspection and absolutely loved it, and said because we knew them, we were able to find that perfect house that matched what they needed. So they're extremely happy, and we're moving through to the closing process now. So that's the kind of things that happen when you have relationship. And we stay on top of it. We do things manually because the automated processes could miss stuff. And the automated processes don't take into account your specific needs. So give us a call if you want realtors who represent you, who are on it, who check multiple times a day for you and keep an eye out for your best interest. Give us a call. 586-232-5144 is our Team Titans hotline. You'll either get myself or Jill Webler on the phone. And then TeamTitansRealEstate.com. That's our website right there. If you go on Facebook, it's Team Titans RE. The RE is for real estate. Hey, how's it going, Jasper? Welcome aboard here. We got Jasper in the house. Let's remove that. There we go. But also in the house, we have Loringer Family Chiropractic. Let me pull them up really quick here. Usually Brett will read that part. I think he's having computer issues, I think. Could be wrong. But let's pull up Loringer Family Chiropractic for everyone to see. All right, let's see here. Chiropractor. Here we go. Loringer Family Chiropractic Center, located in Belleville and Dexter, Michigan, provides wonderful service. They really do. They're a family-oriented environment and really treat you like family. Brett himself is a regular over there. He's weekly, I believe. He's talked about this before, so I know he won't mind me sharing. He had a really bad car accident a long time ago, and with that, he's had issues. He's got like a metal rod or something in his leg there, and with that, and plus his job where he's on his feet a lot, the combination of those two, his back gives him issues every so often. So he goes in for regular maintenance through Loringer Family Chiropractic, and they have done a fantastic job with him. And myself, my daughter had some issues with a shoulder injury she had, that kind of like the muscles and everything. It was just giving her a lot of problems between the back and shoulder area. and through Loringer Family Chiropractic, they helped her a lot in servicing her there. So check them out. Their phone number 734-697-4244 for Belleville, or Dexter 734-426-3994, or check them out online. That's the easiest way. Let me cut and paste their link right into the thing here. All right, we're putting their link up. LoringerFamilyChiropractic.com is their website. Through them, if you don't live in the Belleville or Dexter area, give them a call. They can refer you. They might have some advice for you. And it, like most industries, like in real estate, we know other realtors. We know who the good ones and the not so good ones are. With Loringer, they're the same way with chiropractic care. So they might be able to help hook you up with a chiropractor in your area if you don't have one. So check them out. They're wonderful people. There you have it. Loringer Family Chiropractic. So I do want to share a funny real estate story. I was going to share it with Brett. I don't know where Brett is. Let's see. Let me check my text because he might be texting me. Let's see. I don't see Brett on here. Don't see him there. So Brett is either tied up or his computer is giving him issues. Not sure which. So I will continue. So funny real estate story I want to share with you. One of the hazards of real estate. So when you do a home inspection, this is funny. When you do a home inspection, oh, wait, we got Brett. There is Brett. Brett's in the house. Can you hear me, Brett?
Yeah, just a second.
All right.
Okay.
This is the Odd Musings IT support line. We lost Brett. He connected. He said okay and then disconnected. So not sure what's going on there. There we go.
Okay.
You've reached the Odd Musings IT support line.
Yeah. It's like, I didn't realize it was after 10. My computer had locked up and the time was like 9:40 or something like that. So
you're like in Groundhog's Day. 20 minutes later, you're like, it's still 9:40.
Well, I wasn't even thinking about time. I was playing a video game. So
the video game. Yeah. So I was just updating people. I already did the ad reads.
Perfect.
Talked about how great Loringer is and how wonderful Team Titans is also. But I was about to share a funny real estate story. One of the dangers of being a realtor. So I would like to have you. I was hoping you were going to be on for this because I think it's a funny one. So when you do home inspections, they can be like 2-3 hours long, depending on the size of the house. Well, sometimes with that much time in a house, you may have to do a plumbing check. Make sure the plumbing works.
Yeah.
So you got to use the facilities, so to speak. So I was at a particular home inspection, and this would be a perfect skit for like a TikTok skit or something else. But so anyways, the inspector is like, I'm going to go up on the roof and stuff. So I'm like, okay. I'm like, oh, I got to use the restroom. So I go up, and as I'm getting ready to use it, I realize there's a skylight up in the above me, directly above me. So I was like, whoa, can't use this. Run down, go to another bathroom. That one, it has a big window, but there's no drapes or blinds or anything. It's a vacant house. And the neighbor's house has a window directly across, and the neighbor is right there. So like, oh, can't use this one. So I hurry up, find another. There's a third bathroom, and that one's like, safety. Nope. I can hear the inspector walking. I look out the window, and where the roof goes, it's in perfect alignment with the window. So like, no matter where I went, there was somebody who could potentially watch me. So I'm like, I guess I'm waiting. So that would be a funny skit, running around in every bathroom you go to. There's somebody looking in.
Yeah.
So with that note, how was your week, Brett?
Oh, my week was not bad. Kind of a typical week. Worked more. Fun stuff like that. I know we've had a little bit about Moon Knight not giving me things. I did get a chance to watch that this morning. That was good. And then I've been watching the pieces of her. It's on Netflix, and I don't know. I like three and a half episodes into it. I'm just okay with it. I feel like it's kind of it's just pacing is really off for me. I'm not really enjoying it as much as I thought I would at first. So
What's that on? What
Netflix,
on Netflix?
yeah,
Pieces of Her.
I think it's piece of her. Yeah, it's with oh god, I'm blanking on the name right now,
There we go.
but yeah.
Here, I'll share it.
Mhm.
Pieces of Her. There we go. Oh, that actress was just in something else.
Yeah, she's been in a ton of stuff over the years. I mean, I like her. It's just I don't know. There's like there's big mystery behind it. They're kind of doing some flashback stuff. This last episode I tried to watch, I stood up. I was like, okay, I'm not feeling it. I had to stop. I was just, and I might go back and revisit it in a day or so and just decide if it's just I was not in the mood to watch it or what. But it's kind of a mystery thriller, and like I said, it's just been okay. I've not been really grabbed by it, and I can't figure out if it's just the story or what. It's
that's not the same. That's not Darlene in Ozarks, is it?
No,
the actress. No, okay.
No,
I just saw her in something. I can't think of what. I don't know.
Yeah.
It could be. Who knows? But speaking of Ozark, did you see they announced the season part 2 of the last season coming out?
Yeah, April 29th, we're gonna have the final season, which I expected a little bit later, so I thought they might try to get 2 Emmy nominations in.
Yeah,
but they're doing it all with one, so they'll have a chance for Emmys for the next year. So
yeah, but I'm excited for that. The trailer looked very good.
Yeah,
definitely is it's about to get dark.
well, speaking of trailers, did you see they have a brand new Maverick trailer?
I saw they had it. I haven't watched it yet.
It's really good. It looks like it gives a little more into the story. So even though it's called Top Gun Maverick, in some ways it doesn't feel like it's not a Top Gun class per se. It sounds like there's a mission involved. And they do give away in the trailer that Maverick's was picked by Admiral, and I don't know his actual name, but Iceman is the Admiral.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, and they showed a picture of him, so I don't know if he actually will be physical in this movie or if he was picked and then something happened and he passed or something like that. So they didn't give that away or anything like that. So I don't know. They just show a picture of him as an admiral in uniform. So
yeah. So we got here. Let me pull this up. Let me stop screen share. All right. There we go. So here's an article. Val Kilmer reacts to Top Gun Maverick's trailer as he teases return as Iceman. So,
yeah. Which, if you've seen the documentary on him, he's mentally he's there. It's just physically he has a lot of issues, especially speech and that. So
yeah,
I don't know if something like it's going to be incorporated into the character or what they're going to do, but it actually looks really good. I'm liking the trailer. I'm like, this looks like a lot of fun as an action movie. They're going at different route than the typical Top Gun you would think, where it's going to be all about the class and he's teaching. I mean, Maverick's still Maverick. He's still this rogue pilot, which in reality, most likely, if the way they imply him and that, he probably would have been booted out of the service years ago. But he's only a captain in this, so obviously he's been, instead of promoted up, he's been promoted and demoted.
Here's Val Kilmer's tweet. He put, "Here we go in 3, 2, 1. Top Gun Maverick official trailer. Iceman signing off." Mm-hmm. So that's what Val Kilmer wrote. So who knows? Is signing off foreshadowing of his character or just him saying, signing off. So who knows? We'll have to see. I would hope he's actually in it because, I mean, Val Kilmer, at least based on the documentary, I feel like he's come to terms with his condition and where he's at in life. I mean, so I think it would be good for him to actually be seen and not just tucked away. So I hope they did include him physically. You could just treat it as the true medical issue he has in real life, which was throat cancer, if I remember right. Or you could always say it's some kind of accident or something like that occurred in his career as a pilot. So,
Yeah.
But
So, well, we'll see on that, but I like the trailer. So if you haven't, when you get a chance to watch it, definitely watch the trailer. Like I said, I think it's, I don't know if it's the final trailer, but it's definitely gave more of the story than just the tease of Mavericks coming back.
yeah, it's the longest trailer in history. We've been watching it for 2.5 years now.
Well,
At least the first trailer.
gosh, actually, I think it's like the first teaser was like over 3 years ago now. But
Yeah, it was like the summer before COVID.
yeah,
When
well,
he started.
2019 at San Diego 2019, they had a big panel on it, and I believe it was supposed to come out the following in 2020, but they'd
Correct.
already shot it. I mean, it was filmed at that point. So
Yep. So I just feel like this is the longest trailer in history.
yeah,
Crazy stuff. But I am looking forward to it for
yeah.
sure. I did want to give an update. Today is the final day of our Frankenstein Kickstarter.
Here,
And
I'll play you, Scott. It's the final countdown.
there we
Yeah.
go. That still makes me think of the Bad Boys Pistons era. Than more than anything. But so we're at just under $2,000, 41 backers. So thank you guys. We're about to unlock the stretch goal that comes at $2,000, which will be an amazing sticker, vinyl sticker with artwork by the Kevin E. Meinert. So we just got to break that goal. We're just $56 away from that. In the typical Kickstarter fashion, one of the things you might be like, wait, weren't we about to hit 2,000? What happens is as you approach the end of the campaign, people get notified, and people who there's a lot of times there's a certain number of people who sponsor a project at the very beginning of the project, and for whatever reason, whether financial issues or whatever, they decide to back out. So you usually have a slight dip, like around 3 days before the end, and then you have a surge because you're at the end. So that. It's all normal, typical,
Yep.
but we're about to break 2,000. So ideally, I would love to break 50 backers for this project, being a novel. It's a little harder selling novels than comic books, so we're very happy with where we're at.
Unless, of course, you're what's his name, Sanderson, because his is closing out in the next day or so too, and he's over like almost 38 million. So
let me. Where is he? He gets me mad.
Yeah,
he has like 200,000 backers. I just want $1 from every one of his backers. That's all I want. $1. It's like, dang, he was on like day 3 of his campaign, and he had already shattered every Kickstarter record, and he just keeps. And that was like when he was at like 18 million or something. Yeah. And it's insane where he is. I don't know what secret magic he did to unlock the algorithm to allow him to go everywhere, but
I was not familiar with him, but that doesn't mean anything. I mean, it's I haven't paid attention to current novelizations in a little while, so but he's got a huge fan base. I looked him up quite a bit, checked out the Dragon something or other they are, and then who he is, where he's worked on some series of books that were from other authors previous, like he did some continuations. He's got a lot of his own creative stuff. And so he's already built a fan base. And I think this way he decided, hey, I'm just going directly to the fans with this, which is what we like to do too with our Kickstarters. And he said, here it is. And there's 4 books coming out next year. He's got this.
I think that's the secret right there. Mm-hmm. He's got this whole annual plan. And that's different. I mean, I don't know if other people have tried it, but that's new to me. Mm-hmm. I think that's his secret sauce.
Yeah, it's 4. He's got 4 coming out quarterly, starting with January. And the options, I looked at the options. It's like you can get them digital, you can get them as hardback and digital, and then you can do this one where you get something every month for a year, which seems to be a fair amount of people did that. Yeah. And it's so like in between the months you're not getting the book, you get some swag sent to you and different things that tie into the novelization. So
for his sake, I hope he calculated the shipping correctly for all 12 packages going out, because shipping can kill you on this, and you really got to be careful. And with the volume he's doing, if you're just losing $1 per deal, you're in trouble.
Yeah, I don't think he's too worried about that. I have a feeling, because there's a company behind it. I'm pretty sure that they sat and calculated everything out. I mean, if you look at it though, like the annual thing is like almost $200.
Right. You would
think
I think
though, shipping is added to that too. So
I understand he has an existing base and all, but to shatter every Kickstarter record like within 3 days, you would think it'd be a name like Timothy Zahn or Stephen King or Clive Barker, like some huge name that everybody has heard of. But like, I think the opening of his thing is, so who is so-and-so? I've never heard of him. Like, that's like his opening thing, which, he understands. I'm happy for him. I don't, I jokingly say, oh, he's this jerk. What's he doing? I just want to figure out his secret sauce. That's it.
Yeah. So whatever it is, so it's Brandon Sanderson's his name. And we're giving him a free plug. So just Dragon Steel Entertainment. So whatever he has tied into, and I'm sure if somebody knows, they could send us an email and enlighten us on this. But, it's one of those things. It's like, okay, I'm not familiar. Now he's from something Utah. So maybe he's tied into the Mormons and they backed him a little bit, but it is like that. The word, never heard of him before all this. And that's probably true. He probably has. The thing is that people think you have to have millions upon millions of followers to be successful. You really don't. I'm not just on Kickstarter. It's anything. And hell, it just went up again another time. So we turn around, it's like, but he's got 160 almost. Yeah, see, there it goes again. 163,000 people. You're welcome, Brandon. It's coming from Mod Musings fans. And look at that. There it goes again.
During this hour, he will raise 10 times more than what we did the whole month.
Hell, these 5 minutes, he's already done it. So 163,343 people now. I know.
He just made $1,000 in the 10 seconds we were talking about him.
Right. And yes.
It's crazy.
But the thing is that we know, the Kickstarter that we've always kind of tried to emulate in terms of success has always been Brian Polito's Coffin Comics.
Yes.
He's had such success for the last several years. He's done really good. He embraced Kickstarter right away when it came out. I don't know how soon into it, but he was there. And I know Sean Forney's talked about that, things like that. So it's just more of like trying to figure this out. But you have to have a fan base. And he obviously was able to build a fan base.
Correct.
Prior to this, where we've got a very small fan base from our Comic-Cons experience. We've never had the huge success that, other people have had. And we're coming in from a little different. So when we launched with COVID with the first Kickstarter for Bardstone, it's we were happy to hit the $2,000 and $3,000 that we were trying to get. So
he has now raised $2,000 during this conversation.
Yeah.
So I just wrote down the amount when we started. So at the end, I'm curious to see how much money he's raised just during the next 30 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, for our Kickstarter, he doesn't need help. He has 163,000 backers. See, the problem with people like that is he can't appreciate each and every one of you. All 41 of you backing us, we love you.
But if we were to get 164,000, trust me, we would appreciate you from afar.
But let me share the link there. I'll put the link into the thing. But
now keep this in mind, though, people, when there's something like that high, he's going to lose about 10% to Kickstarter fees.
Yeah.
And then he's going to be taxed on it all. But if you notice different, they're putting this, it's not under his name. It's under that Dragon Steel. So they knew they were coming in and make good money on this. So
you're right. He had, I think he had a marketing firm and everything behind him to really.
Well, he's got what he is he's part of this, whatever this is. They've set up a corporation ahead of time, or a business, Dragon Steel Entertainment. So everything's going to funnel through that. So in terms of taxes, he himself isn't going to be taxed, but that Dragon Steel Entertainment is, and I'm sure they've got ways around a lot of that. So, but so I mean, it's just things that if you were coming that big, I mean, if you get someone major coming in, it's usually coming in as a company that they set up and they have their LLC or something set up or incorporated, so that way they can work out the tax option, because they're going to pay taxes on that. It's going to eat up a lot of that. So,
So
that kind of money though. They don't need 37 million to print up the amount of books they'll need. So, and even with the amount they're going to do, they're going to get such a good price on it. They'll be able to definitely handle everything. So, but we could definitely use more money ourselves.
That's right.
So send us more money.
We're at just $56 away from unlocking. Please go there. I just posted the link. Visit the website, share it. Even if you can't donate, share it to your pages, because it's all about the algorithms and we are a small independent publisher. We don't have the money to pay a huge PR firm that can overtake all the algorithms and make sure our stuff is pushed on this massive scale. So we rely on you guys, the fans, and you guys are awesome. We have a huge number of people who return and faithfully sponsor our different Kickstarters, and you guys are rock stars. So thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
So before we move on, I had a really fun thing this past week I want to share.
Sure.
Let's get onto here. So Jill and I went to the Hotel California. Not literally, but we went.
But you left. I mean, they say
Yes.
you could never leave.
Well, you can check out, but you can never. You can wait. You can check out, but you can never.
You can
leave.
never leave.
That's it. Yeah, but it was great. We saw the Eagles live at Little Caesars Arena. Insanely good concert. Wow. I can't say enough about how they sounded. They played. So the first hour was the entire Hotel California album from beginning to end. They played it in song order too. And what was cool is when it opened up, this person walks out on stage and puts the record album on this record player and puts it on there. And then the band started playing.
Mm.
When they get to the part where the first side is over, someone else comes out and flips the album. And then they start playing the second half of the album. Then they did a break, intermission. Then they did an hour of their greatest hits from other albums. And then they did about roughly an hour of their solo hits from, everyone on that
So
band.
you got about 3-hour concert on it.
It was 3 hours. There was no opening act. It was them from beginning to end. One thing that was cool is Glenn Frey has passed away. He was a major part of the Eagles. I believe he was the founder too, if I remember right. But for his parts, Vince Gill has joined the band. We didn't know that.
Really?
He plays Glenn Frey's parts perfectly. He sounds just like him, and you still feel like you're listening to the album when Vince Gill does it.
I can see that.
Yeah, it was funny. So they're playing at the start, and Jill's like, God, that guy reminds me of Vince Gill. I'm like, Vince Gill? Why would he be playing with the Eagles? And they kept playing, and she's like, I think that's Vince Gill. I'm like, really? Oh, okay. And then she says to the guy next to us, is that guy like giving off major Vince Gill vibes? And he goes, well, it is Vince Gill. And then they did the introductions of the band, and sure enough, it was Vince Gill. So that was cool to see him in concert, because I'd never gotten to see Vince Gill play. But he did all the solo parts of Glenn Frey and sang the songs perfectly. It was wonderful. Yeah. All their voices sounded strong. The music was strong. I'm telling you, all you young musicians out there, you guys cannot hold a candle to these 70-year-olds who are rocking it. They didn't rely on fancy filters and auto-tune and other things to put their albums together. They didn't record their parts separately and then in post-production put them together. They played these albums when they recorded them as a band. And that's why they sound like their albums, because they recorded them. But on top of that, they're more mature and better practiced. And I think they actually sound better now than they did back then. So if you get a chance to see the Eagles, I highly recommend it. It was a wonderful, wonderful concert.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
Yeah. So
yeah,
that was our fun thing.
That's the thing. It's music. I don't hardly listen to any current music stuff now, because it sounds the same anymore. It's all auto tune. It's all, post production, stuff like that. I like bands. I like hearing a good band. And I think it's why I'm seeing a lot of the younger kids are embracing the bands that are touring, and you're seeing they're actually getting into that stuff. And while it was a joke in Cobra Kai in the first season, kid listening to the 80s stuff, and he goes right down, everything he was mentioning was bands, Def Leppard, Guns N' Roses, all these stuff were good bands. So
right.
Like, and that's what the album was,
I've seen Aerosmith live. They sound just like their albums. Sammy Hagar live was spectacular. Sounds just like the albums. And, all these different bands, Kiss, all these bands sound like their albums, but that's because of how it was recorded at the time. Yeah. So.
And they're not over tuning it. They're not trying to go crazy with it. I mean, even Queen, if I could have seen Queen back in the day with Freddie Mercury, they would never sound exactly like some of their albums, because especially, the opera stuff, that was they couldn't recreate that on stage because of what they did. And you can see that in the movie about them, Bohemian Rhapsody. But a lot of the regular rock songs, I'm sure, sounded exactly like.
But even that's a perfect example of the Bohemian Rhapsody. When they would do it live, when they got to that part, they would actually walk off stage because they did not. It's funny how things have changed. They did not want to give the illusion they were singing it live when they weren't. So they actually stepped off the stage during that part and then would come back on and play live the rest of the song. Whereas now they openly lip sync everything. You'll have a singer fall down on stage and be yelling at somebody. Meanwhile, the music is still playing and the song is still being sung. It's like,
It's like I watched Head On yesterday while I was doing stuff. Airheads from 1994 with Brendan Fraser and Sandler's. It's about the band that takes over the radio station. And they want their
such a classic.
And when they start to put them up on stage, you got the record stars like, just lip sync. We'll pay them. We got to sync it up in post. And they're like, no, man, you're gonna make us look bad. We're a rock band, and you can't do that. Yep. And that's the whole thing. He's got to have that kind of music. And I think it's why some of the bands that really listen to a lot of stuff is they're actually playing music. It's like last summer we went and saw the Hell Mega Tour, and I've talked about the Interrupters a bunch of times, but man, I kind of really started digging that band a lot. They play instruments. They brought out a few different instruments. And I didn't realize, because I'm not a Billie Eilish fan, that her song Bad Guy, I heard them sing it first. I never heard her sing it, and they do a better job of it. And they've got more actual music in it. And nothing is Billie Eilish, because I know her and her brother write their songs, and he plays on them and all that stuff. But the way they did it was just a nice full band feel to it. And that's what I think we're missing. So
speaking of the full band feel, there's something about when rock and roll and orchestras come together, and they had a full orchestra and choir present also. So some of the songs they had this choir singing in background combined with orchestra, combined with the rock and roll. Just it sounds so amazing live. It really did. So I highly recommend it.
And that's what we enjoyed the other month with the Elton John concert. Same thing. The band he had was fantastic, and especially the guy up there doing a lot of percussion stuff. Not the main set drummer. He was up there covering like the big drums and bus stuff, and he was just into it. But he's been with Elton since like 78 or something like that, they said. But yeah, it's real playing. It's like, as much as y'all want to like the boy bands, these singers and everything else, so there's no band with them, or sometimes they do have a band, but halftime it's still all pre-recorded stuff for them. I like a band that just plays, and I just want to enjoy that. So it's awesome. Let's get to it. Hey, Kev. So
right there he is.
Yeah, that's what I was going to tell you. You mentioned Aerosmith, and I just heard on the radio the other day that they are doing their residency in Vegas starting when we're there.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
very cool. Very cool.
So I was like, oh, I guess they knew we were coming. Not to the show, but they're welcome to give us tickets, and we'll come out.
Yeah, it's so funny. I saw them about 10 years ago, and the energy they had on stage was just. Steven Tyler should run marathons. Like, he did not stop moving. He was the entire concert running back and forth on the stage, jumping. It was nonstop movement the entire concert. I don't know how he did it. And back then he was 60, so now he's got to be 70.
Yeah, they're up there. They're getting up there. So, but it's
funny. So many of these bands have retired multiple times, have done their last tour.
Well, I don't know.
Because they're like, they still have it.
I mean, other than Kiss, that has been on their final tour for the last 25 years, there's really not many that truly announce retirement. A lot of them say, hey, we're just stepping back. We'll see what happens. Yeah. There's a few that have said, hey, we're done. I mean, Motley Crue did say they were done. And then they've all come out and said, hey, you guys can make a ton of money right now.
I think the Rolling Stones have had a couple of retirement tours since. And
not really. I'll be honest.
I thought they had 2 retirement tours.
No, they've had. No, it's other people saying that. They've never fully said that. They've always basically said, "Hey, we got something else. We're going to go do it." They're touring again now, as it is. So.
It's like Tom Brady. You retire for a month.
He never said he was retiring. He said never was stepping back.
Yep.
And I think that was.
And we pointed that out at the time. He never used the words retirement or retire in his 3-page retirement letter.
Yeah.
So.
And he was just stepping back. And I think a lot of that was he wanted certain things, and that's what they're doing. They're starting to sign people in the off season. And I saw, I think it might've been the Dolphins coach or something like that was questioned, like that Brady was in talks with them trading for him, and he's basically said, no, that's not the case. I mean, if that was the case, why is he getting all these players? He wants to be at Tampa Bay, you know, and there's talk though of Baker Mayfield from Cleveland going to Tampa Bay, which I think would be a very smart thing. He's a good quarterback, and he could spend a year under Brady, being basically trained by Brady on what you need to do and not do, and he could learn the Brady way. And I think he could come out as a top-notch quarterback down the road.
Yeah.
So,
well, since we're speaking sports, what's the over/under on a MMA match between Chris Rock and Will Smith?
Well, it depends who's scripting that one.
I don't think it's scripted.
I think it was. I've read enough people that
I think the proof is the fallout. I think it's the fallout I think if it was scripted, I think Will Smith's career just tanked. And I think they'd be like, hold on, guys. I think they'd be coming out if it was scripted at this point.
I don't. And the reason I'm going to give my point in this is, one is the hit looked like a theatrical hit. It did not look like a real hit. Chris Rock never brought his hands up. It looked like he was expecting it. I even saw a couple of screen grabs as the hand was just starting to come up, and he's already winced seriously, like he knew it was going to come. And he literally did get hit. Not saying he didn't, but I think the whole thing was, you got Chris Rock's on a major tour. I like Chris Rock. I've always liked him in terms of a comedian, stuff like that. But he hasn't been relevant in a long time. You got Will Smith that, yes, he may have won an Oscar. Nobody saw King Richard. Nobody cared to see King Richard. It was free on HBO Max and nobody was watching it. And still, it's still there. And all he's been trying to do for the last 20 years is win an Oscar. Him and Jada have completely trashed the Oscars for years, saying it's racist. It's this because he didn't win when his acting was not good.
But why would he, if it was scripted, and I'm not saying it's definitely not, so I'm not saying that, but what would be the motivation? What's in it for Will Smith to go along with this?
It's the old story of even bad press is good press.
But on the night he finally wins his award.
It backfired on them because it was meant to make him look, and I think you had it right on some of your posts and which you've commented on. He's a cuck. And that's CUCK for that. Need to look it up. He has been.
Is that even just side note? Is that considered a swear word or not? I don't know.
No, I wouldn't think so. No.
Okay.
And because that came out that Jada was allowed to sleep with whoever she wanted. Will Smith could not.
They're in an open marriage, which you've never seen. Yeah. Have we ever seen Will Smith with another person?
No.
That's kind of a failed open marriage. If it's one-sided.
But and the things like that, and they laughed until she gave him the look, and then it was like the nod of, okay, now it's time. And so he had to be this man, this tough guy that go up and defend his. And I've seen people defend that. And then if I've seen a lot of other people that you think would come back and say, no, Richard Williams, he completely went against it. Serena Williams, completely against it. They all these people coming out and saying, no, this is not the way she's been handled. And then his, keep my wife's name out of your effing mouth, saying it twice. The first thing is like that, is Chris Rock has already come out and said, look, I didn't know she had alopecia. I know.
I'm so tired of everyone acting like this was public knowledge. 99% of all people don't give a crap about what Jada Smith says and doesn't follow her.
Yeah. So her saying that she's got alopecia, great. It's a disease that she could be talking about. It's something that people do get made fun of. But the joke was a G.I. Jane joke. And if you've ever seen G.I. Jane, what was the character G.I. Jane played with Demi Moore? She was a tough, badass bitch that whooped ass, that put up with a lot of crap and worked hard to get through everything. Yeah. And she should have been proud to say, I'm going to be the next G.I. Jane. No, they had to treat it as a slight, and it wasn't. I think it was a typical Oscars joke that actually paid homage to a strong woman. And of course, I, as a white male, will never be respected for saying that because I'm just supposedly, pandering now and all that stuff. But it's like this. It's ridiculous. And the whole thing was ridiculous that with Will Smith doing that. His apology looked written by several writers. Did not look like it was a humble apology. Supposedly, Chris Rock went to try to talk to them afterwards, and they refused.
But see, that's where, everything you're saying, I agree with.
Yeah.
But to me, that doesn't fit if it's scripted.
And that's where I think it's all fitted. I think it was I think it was planned. I really do, and
You do?
it just feels too planned
Yeah.
because the hit didn't look real.
Well,
If you look at me, he's like this. He goes back. He's like, "Ugh."
but keep
I
in
mean,
mind,
it was a
Will
pose.
Smith.
It was a stupid attempt at a superhero
No,
pose to slap.
but here's my position.
Yeah.
Will Smith is a weak man.
Mm-hmm.
And according to his mother, she doesn't believe he has ever hit somebody in his life.
Yeah.
When you get into a fight, your adrenaline starts surging. And if he's not used to it, and I could see him throwing a bad slap because of the surge. If he knows he's about to do this. Plus, a real man, I shouldn't say real man. Usually, if a man is pissed at another man, you punch.
Yeah.
You don't slap.
Well, that's why I feel it was fake.
Well, that's why for me, what it was is to me, the laugh was genuine that he was doing. Jada, see, all night, Jada was laughing at the jokes that made Will the butt of this joke. Now she's the butt of the joke. She gave the look. Will was doing a genuine laugh, and I think he made eye contact and realized, oh, crap, I need to escalate this or else I'm in trouble when I get home. He goes up on stage. I don't think he wanted to do it. I think he felt he had to do it because of her look. And I think that's why he slapped instead of punched. Yeah. Could be wrong. This is pure speculation.
Oh, yeah. And even on my part, it is too. It's just my opinion on what I saw.
Yeah. Now, according to interviews, and once again, if it's all scripted, they could be part of it. But according to like the interview with the people in the back room, they also felt this was scripted until they said when Chris Rock said, Will Smith just slapped the blank out of me. They said, wait a minute. He knows you can't swear on TV. So that's when for them, they're like, this might be real. And then when Will Smith started yelling, they're like, this is real. Now that's according to what they were saying in the room. Now, they could be lying and be part of it.
Well, I'm thinking it was planned, but it wasn't a Oscars. I think it was a smaller group of say, hey, this is what's going to happen, and this is what needs to happen, and it completely backfired because they wanted him to look tougher as protecting his woman, and then come up and talk about
because right now
defending your family, and it backfired completely.
Right. But like you mentioned, the Williams family is now against Will. NAACP is against him. All these groups are coming out against him. Now, for me, whether or not this is staged or real, I think the scary part, and I did this as a post, is the number of people who are posting this was a justified assault on stage because they were offended. Just because you're offended doesn't give you the right, especially a comedian who is being paid. This is an event where it is tradition to heckle the industry as a whole and those celebrities in the front. It's a tradition. It's been going on for like 40 years. So there's no surprise.
It goes all the way back to Bob Hope back in the 40s and 50s from the hotel ones that weren't broadcast. And they would joke and pick on everybody. It was a roast. And the whole thing with the Oscars was developed as a way to them to celebrate themselves. But at the same time, they wanted to make it not look as, like we're the greatest. They wanted to kind of be picked on.
It was self-deprecating humor to the industry.
Exactly. And that's where I think the problem. I stopped watching the Oscars a few years ago, several years ago, and I watched it longer than I should have. But I got so tired of, just the whole thing with it is they want to make it political. They want to be able to have, we've got this grand stage to where we can take away from what it really is. As I have to tell people, I love filmmaking. I love the works like that. And when I watched the Oscars, I wanted to see those that won. And there was a lot of times with the Oscars, the unfortunate thing was so many would get nominated that you hadn't seen yet because they had a limited release just to get nominated. Yeah. And then if you did, and some I saw afterwards, like, that sucked. And some I saw, I was like, well, it sucked, but the filmmaking aspect was better than other things. And it deserves some of the technical awards, things like that. Yeah. But all it's become is about this. It's like, prior to the Oscars, they talked about all these awards not going to be giving out live. They wanted Sean Penn and his moronic statement of, I'm going to melt my Oscar if they don't bring the president of Ukraine on. Well, why? Right. He has nothing to do with filmmaking.
Not just that, but like, okay, you're going to melt your little trophy. The average person who works their butt off doesn't care about your little trophy.
Right.
Go melt like it then.
It's
like what kind of threat is that? Like
there's always
as a nation where please don't.
And there's been some political stuff. I mean, you had the streaker that was political back in the 70s. Yeah. I saw where the someone was posting about the Native Americans. She came out and talked, and supposedly, I've never seen this, that there was like 6 security guards holding back John Wayne so he didn't go up and attack her.
Right.
And I don't necessarily believe or disbelieve that because I have no proof on that either way. It's just now
Right.
50 years later, someone saying
Right.
something. But the whole thing with the Oscars is it's got to be this grand thing. And to be honest, I didn't hear any of the opening speech stuff from the 3 comedians that were hosting it, but I did find out afterwards, yeah, they were making fun of Jada and her open marriage because she made that public knowledge, and nobody says a word about that.
But Will was the butt of the joke, so it was okay. They were laughing at Will's lack of manhood.
And I think the biggest, the worst thing that happened for this whole thing was, after all this happened, it took everything away from what happened during the Oscars. It could have been good. The movie Coda was a fantastic film, done very well, good actors. They won, and nobody's hardly talking about that.
Right.
Nobody cares now. And it's a shame because you had deaf actors that really didn't it wasn't just like, oh, here's deaf people, give them accolades because they're deaf. They actually put on a good performance. They worked hard to have a solid film and a solid story.
Right.
You and I talked about it actually showed how deaf people are. They make noises that they don't hear. They fart all the time. They do this because they don't realize that other people can hear them. And they talked about that in these films and actually, in a lot of ways, educated people on how deaf people are.
Yeah. So for me, the fallout of this has so overshadowed everything that it doesn't even matter anymore if it's real or scripted. Comedians are speaking out in huge droves. It's interesting how this event has united conservative and far left comedians, where you got Whoopi Goldberg speaking out about it. You got Kathy Griffin speaking out about it. You've got Jim Carrey coming out huge against it. Because they make their living doing comedy and they don't want this to become normalized where it's okay for someone in the crowd to come up and hit them if someone's offended.
Yeah, it's become, this all ties into cancel culture. It really does. It's now, we no longer agree, so we're going to cancel you. So they would do it digitally. But now it's like, someone says something you don't agree with, you're welcome to go up and actually physically assault them, though you preach all day long about how love wins. Love wins.
I find it curious how many comedians who are fully supportive of cancel culture are now defending Chris Rock, saying how wrong this is. It's like you were fine when Trump was the target. You were fine with this same mentality when you were anti-Trump. You're fine with it when it's a conservative comedian.
Because I heard when during the Trump time, I heard a lot of people that are anti-Trump talk about someone should kill him, someone should slap him, someone should beat the hell out of him.
The White House,
do this, do that, stuff like that. And that's where you have to realize that regardless of which side of the aisle you want to be on, people have a right to say what they want to say. Now, that goes to certain points. If they come out and say something that's completely not true, that's defamatory, that can destroy someone's reputation. If they come out and said, Jim Carrey doesn't like that, but Jim Carrey is, he sleeps with dogs and,
if you
say something wrong, that's wrong. That's defamation. But if they're saying something, it's like they're making a joke in that. And again, the Chris Rock joke wasn't a slight against her. I mean, in a lot of ways, it was a joke because she had her head shaved. Like, I knew G.I. Jane. We'll make a joke on that. And you go from there. And there's been times that some of the jokes fall flat at like the Oscars and stuff like that. And there's been times people holler from the audience, no, that's not cool, and they back off, But most of the time with the Oscar stuff, it's like these jokes were written long before they walked out there.
Yeah, I think with, you go back to, this is the last thing I'll say, and then we got to move on. But for me, at least, I didn't realize what the joke was. Supposedly Jada Pinkett Smith does not like Chris Rock because in 2016 he made a joke about her. Now it's interesting. That's the last time she really was not last time, but a public headache for her husband. This is when the whole controversy was about how the number of nominees, it was not diverse enough.
Right.
And Will Smith was in the air flying. He had no idea what was happening. She started doing all these tweets. And when he lands, there's this whole racial war storm going on. And he's like, what? Like he doesn't even know what happened.
Yeah.
And she's boycotting the Oscars, wasn't going to go. And Chris Rock was hosting in 2016. And he made a joke about how Jada Pinkett Smith is boycotting the Oscars. He goes, but That's kind of like me boycotting Rihanna's panties because I was never invited in the first place. and everyone laughed at that. And supposedly that's the joke where
well, she's been the more vocal of the two when it comes to the Oscar stuff. And, and now that he's got his win after having 2 nominations where he didn't win. But if you go back and look at those years, look at the winners those years. It wasn't like they said, oh, screw Will Smith. We're going to give it just to somebody else because we don't like Will Smith. The roles, I mean, that was 7. I didn't care for that one. I think that he was very flat. The story was not great. He was trying to win an Oscar on these films that had heavy drama.
7?
Is it 7 pounds or something like that? 7
pounds,
7 pounds, yeah.
8 pounds.
8 pounds. I saw it once and I didn't care for it. It was just not a good movie. And he didn't win. I didn't see King Richard, so I'm not gonna say whether it's good or bad. He may have done a fantastic job, and they may have been very happy with his performance on that. But realistically, I saw 0 people talking about it. There was no real buzz. It was like, hey, this movie's out and it's in the theaters and HBO at the same time. It's gonna be gone in 30 days. And about 30 days after that, after it left, it came right back to HBO Max because nobody cared, nobody saw it.
Yeah.
And in terms of phenomenal athletes, the Williams sisters have been. They conquered tennis in many ways. And they worked hard. There was a lot of talk about how their dad was early on with it. He worked them hard and stuff like that. And agree or disagree on with his text has nothing to do with it. They became the tops in the world for many years.
Yeah, and
still are very dominant. And they're hitting an age where a lot of tennis people have long since retired. Heck, the current number 1 retired. She's 26.
Right.
She stepped away. She said, I'm done.
Yeah.
So, but I just think that it's a shame that any celebrity, regardless of what it is, thinks they can get away with anything and that we're all to just take it. And that's what I felt here was because the minute her first statement was, that's what we do. Oh, okay. So you guys don't like
that was his
I
think that was his son tweeted. That's what we do.
Okay, because it came out. I saw it quoted as Jada, so but maybe
she did too,
and maybe both. Who knows? But yeah,
Well, now she's saying this is a season for healing.
Oh yeah, of course. The minute you find out you're in the wrong, you have to ask. Yeah. Oh, it's time to forgive and forget, move on. Yeah. And I get tired of that crap too. So.
Anyways, enough on the slap for me at least.
I'm good.
Although I'm not going to stop on the memes. It's that will be around for decades.
Yeah. I'm waiting to hear what Chris Rock said because last night was his opening night of his tour in Boston.
I'll tell you what,
I haven't heard anything yet. So
if this is real and was not scripted, if I was Chris Rock, I would publicly skewer Will Smith every chance I get.
I have a feeling we're going to be hearing some of the jokes coming out.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But yeah. So hey, let's go to Moon Knight. Yeah, let's go to Moon Knight. Launched today on Disney Plus. We'll go into the episode more next week.
Yeah. But we're gonna do it like we did with the Boba Fett series. Since the episode comes out the day of our show, we will talk about the previous week in full detail. We'll do spoiler free the day of.
Yeah. One thing I will say about this episode is when you go to watch it, if you're not familiar with Moon Knight, don't start getting to you're not going to see the Moon Knight as you see the hand there and that initially. They have a lot of setup in this, but it's necessary, I think, to go on. And this is only a 6-episode series. Mm-hmm. So I think a lot of the setup we're seeing in this first episode is to really set up who this character is, who Oscar Isaac is character playing, and setting up also the bad guy played by Ethan Hawke, which was announced already prior to this. So you got to go through this whole thing. And I personally thought the storytelling was very good in this first episode. And when it ended, I was like, I want the second episode now because that's where I left off at.
So based on the trailers, I don't think this is any spoilers. They do reveal, I think they do a great job of, it's a very fast-paced episode to get to they don't want to turn this into a 6-episode origin story. They get through the meat of we still don't know the origin, but you know what I mean? The reveal happens kind of quick throughout this episode and setting it up. I thought they did a masterful job of, through the trailers, they reveal he's kind of like he's having issues sleeping. Is there a split personality? He's confused about what day it is because he's got all these issues with his sleeping habits. And I thought they really captured really well the confusion that the character has through this episode.
Yes.
So I thought they did a good job of that.
Yeah, because you're basically dealing with this character that doesn't understand what's going on. and you get this right from the beginning. And that, so it's just a matter of them building up to. I think that this will be another series too. We're gonna hear some complaints on this first episode from people, but then once it gets going, people will look back and say, "Oh, it makes more sense now." It's typical Marvel, and they aren't going to give you everything right away, but they hint it so much. And I'm really excited for next week's episode, and then and going forward from there, because it's I think this is going to be a solid series, and it's definitely a different feel than we've had from some of the other Marvel series so far.
Yeah, they're definitely. This is also, I think, where the Netflix Defender series are tying in. The feel of this, it definitely feels like it could have been part of that whole Daredevil, Punisher. The feel,
and I believe originally they were talking about Moon Knight during that time before when they were going to renew the contract before Disney Plus started up.
That's if I recall right, that was one of the next ones on the slate.
Yep. So this could tie into. I mean, they already know they are bringing back Daredevil as a series. They're going to do a relaunch in that. So, but it's still Charlie Cox. So it's going to be, basically a continuation from the first one in there.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to reboot it. I
No,
I don't think they're going to reboot it. I think they're just going to move forward, which would be brilliant because really there's nothing about those original series that go against the canon that was created through the MCU. I think it all ties up. It all can fit in just seamlessly. So, because they were kind of keeping that, they talk about the events in New York and that stuff that happened in the Avengers. They reference it. They don't go into detail, but it works.
Yeah, and it's all on Disney Plus now, so you can watch it. They're considered part of canon, so it's not like a Legend series or anything like that. Although I believe Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is treated as a Legend series.
Yes.
And that, but you can definitely go watch those. I enjoyed the Daredevil series a lot. I was very disappointed with the Defenders miniseries.
Yes.
But I think it was they were wanting to go that way, but I think that ultimately you had too many hands in the pot trying to figure out where to go, and they screwed that up.
Yeah.
But definitely, and then I did like a little bit of some of the other ones, but for the most part, Daredevil was the better of the series.
Yeah. Yeah. For that, Ashley.
Yeah. I can't wait for you guys to get home. Actually, I see little one's doing good. So
here, I'll do a quick share of, for people who don't know what Ashley is referring to. Let's see here. So my granddaughter Lillian, Ashley's daughter, she had to have heart surgery done. She was born with a hole in her heart, which it's not. I mean, it's not common, but it's not uncommon either. And so at about a year, if it hasn't closed up on their own, then they do a surgery to close it up. So there's Lillian there in the hospital waiting to check out today. And so they are excited to go home. I'll play this. So Lillian's a little cutie. She's I'm amazed. I mean, they open up the chest. They got to go through the ribs to do this surgery. This is just like 5 days later or something, 6 days later. And look at her. She's moving around just fine.
Yeah.
You would think it would hurt, but babies, their bones aren't as solid as ours are. So maybe the healing process, they do recommend it being done before a certain point. And I think it's because the healing process is much better.
Well, the bones are still, that boy's still forming, and they're formed, but they're still solidifying and getting harder. And so going in now, the healing will be a lot more. She'll always have the scar, but the scar will should heal up really nice.
Yeah. So there's Lillian and my daughter Ashley. We were able to visit them in the hospital. They were at Detroit Children's Hospital. They did a phenomenal job. We're very happy with at least my understanding is they're very happy with everything. So there you go.
Fantastic.
So the heart, my understanding is it takes 5-6 days for the heart to heal from the surgery. So she should be good there. It'll be about 4 more weeks or so, 4 or 5 weeks for the chest to heal. Mm-hmm. So they can't pick her up like you normally would pick a child up, like under the armpits and around you can't pick up that way. You have to scoop under the butt and carry them that way when you carry them. So that'll be like 4 to 6 weeks or something like that before that part is done. But yeah, she's doing well there. So.
Oh, good. Well, so glad to hear that.
Yeah. So I'll just give one more shout out on my end for the Kickstarter. Anything else on your end, Brett?
No, I've been yesterday. I'm my my cousin Courtney's having a baby, and their baby shower's on Sunday, so I'm actually catering it. I'm not gonna be there. I'm just doing all the cooking this week. So
Oh,
I just
nice.
finished up. I'll be bagging up. I just took off this morning 60 pounds of pork, and I'm getting ready to do some chickens and mac and cheese and over today and tomorrow. So definitely a lot of that going on. Other than that, just kind of good work. Oh, I haven't had a chance to share. I got my new banner yesterday
Oh, nice.
that I ordered. Same image that I shared with you guys on our page, our thread, and it looks really good. The colors came out good. I did a black background, and the black's pretty solid on that. So, yeah. So, but yeah, definitely excited about that, and eventually I'll have to do another one just on Bardstone. But I know Scott's looking to make one up for his shows, and Kevin's got one. Same company,
Yeah.
just fantastic. So
Awesome. So there's the Kickstarter one more time. It ends tonight at 8 p.m. I will be going live at 7 p.m. If Brett and Kevin can make it, great. If they can't, no worries. But I'll do a final run there towards the end of the campaign to bring it to a close.
I'll plan on jumping on. I should be around 7:00. I'll just
okay.
I'll pop on too, and we can chat for a bit and
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Talk about the upcoming other stuff going on through Bardstone. And
yes.
So I mentioned real briefly about Vegas. So everybody that does follow us for our tours and that.
Yeah.
Vegas is now going to be in September.
Yeah.
And so we're not going to be there. It's kind of a bummer, but still planning on going for the show.
Yeah, we are planning on being there in September for the show.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
So doing like a turn and burn, basically going to fly in, do the show, fly home.
Yeah.
Partly because then the next weekend, Kevin and I are scheduled to be in Cincinnati for the Cincinnati Comic Expo. And I need to get a hold of the show that we're supposed to do the weekend that we're now going to be in Vegas and let them know what's going on, because unfortunately Vegas has got our money. And if we don't go, we lose the money.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that's a bummer that happened. Plus it's I don't know. It's just such a good time in June.
Yeah. So we'll have a good time without the show. Otherwise, we're going to have a lot of fun, and we're going to go do a little vacationing and relax, and all of us together. Maybe we'll work on something new for Bardstone that will come back and say, hey, here's something new for you guys. Buy more crap. So, but other than that, I did buy tickets for Fantastic Beasts. Comes out in a couple weeks. That Tuesday after I get back after Easter, I'll be going to see that. Wanted to lock that in.
Doesn't something come out this week? What comes out this week? Oh, Morbius.
Yeah, Morbius comes out this week. Boy, it's getting trashed.
It is.
And I'm like, so I kind of want to go see it still.
I'm still going to see it and watch it.
I time for that, so I might do that next week.
See, this is the problem with the Marvel stuff when Sony does it by itself.
Yeah.
We'll see. I'm going to have an open mind because I'm looking forward to it. But, this was the problem with the Andrew Garfield. Everyone's got, they're looking back fondly and reminiscing because of the recent one. But the second Andrew Garfield movie bombed, not because of Andrew Garfield, but because of Sony.
Yeah, I liked it myself. I liked the Andrew Garfield ones. I liked the direction they were building to. They had a total of 4 movies they were supposed to do. Mm-hmm. But of course, then Marvel took over. And I think at that point, they knew Marvel was going to be doing their own thing. So they kind of stopped it. But
that second movie became more of an advertisement for the third movie. It was all about setting up the Sinister Six, and kind of didn't do a good job with the Spider-Man side of the story.
Right. And that was the sad part about that. But supposedly, though, Morbius, they did come out and say that there is a Spider-Man in the Morbius universe. They just don't say which universe he's in, and a couple of things I've seen recently.
I wonder if they'll use this to introduce the Miles Morales Spider-Man.
And that could be. I mean, we've seen Miles as the animated in the Into the Spider-Verse. Yeah. But it's interesting to see if they will go live action. I mean, they've been talking about it, but it's seeing if they really will go that route, or
this could be Andrew Garfield.
It could be Andrew Garfield, and wonder if we could see a Spider-Gwen aspect come about it.
Could be. I
mean, down the road, because there's been a lot of push for that too.
And let's not forget, there's always a chance of Spider-Ham.
Yes. Hey, Spider-Ham was the best part of the Into the Spider-Verse for me. So,
so we never know.
Yeah, but so I'm interested to see that. I definitely want to try to go see that, and then movies are starting to come back out again as we're getting some more releases, and if you got the time, I don't. Starting at Cinemarks next month, you can go and see every one of the Harry Potter movies over like an 8-day period. I saw where Cinemark's doing them like at 6 or 7 o'clock at night, and and you can buy a ticket. So for like $25 is what I saw my local one says $25. You can come see every Harry Potter movie if you want to see by the big screen. I'm like, I would, but I ain't got that kind of time to dedicate.
It's a lot of time.
Right up to Easter. So I was like, no, can't do that.
Yeah,
so,
like maybe once a month.
Yeah.
For 8 months in a row.
Yep. So, but other than that, that's it.
That's
Nothing
it.
really going on. So
next week we'll probably talk Morbius. We'll talk episode 1 of Moon Knight in full, spoiler free of Moon Knight 2, and we'll see what Will Smith does this week.
I have a feeling he's gonna go quiet.
Well, they announced he's gonna appear on Jada's Red Table Talk, which is interesting. Last time they had the Red Table Talk about the open marriage, you can tell he never agreed to this open marriage. He even refers to it as, oh, I had to sit through you revealing all your transgressions. Well, it's not a transgression if it was agreed upon open marriage. And she's like, well, I don't feel it was a transgression. I just was looking to be happy because you don't satisfy me. It's like right to his face.
Yeah.
She is the definition of toxic femininity. And that's what should really be discussed. But we can't talk about that.
Well, of course not. We're males, so we have toxic masculinity on our
end. That's
it.
Yeah. No such thing. No such thing as toxic femininity.
Yeah. Well, it's a shame that all this has transpired, and
it is
for it to disappear.
I personally would rather if it didn't happen, and we just all forgot about the Oscars like normal. I like the post. A lot of people were posting, if not for Will Smith slapping Chris Rock, I wouldn't have even known the Oscars occurred.
Yeah, I saw that. I knew it was happening, but I had no desire to watch it. And when I wake up the next morning, I see that's all I saw. And I was like, oh, the first thing I thought was, who else won? And then they weren't talking about that because nobody cared.
Nobody cared.
So,
I agree.
Hey, we'll see y'all next week. Watch Moon Knight. Bye.